Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 179, Scottish Folklore by Duncan Anderson. It's a reverend, actually. Interesting work, link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books blogs. This is an interesting and full length, I believe about 170 pages, collection of lore. It's a collection of anecdotal experiences from the author himself during his youth in his native Scotland. I believe had moved to England to learn, go to college and stuff. And it comes from tales that would have dated to the mid-1800s. So you've got that situation, and he points this out actually in the work, where folklore was at the time being quickly lost. You had the encroaching advancement of urbanization, of post-nationalism, early globalism, oddly, trade, travel, and so forth, the growth of an early middle class that's more literate and mobile, and it sort of destroys the cohesion of some of these rural communities that had been at least partially industrialized. He talks about how the old people there could make a few extra shillings by basically spinning wool, because they would do that, and then people would come from abroad with big wagon trains and buy it all up and pay them a few pennies for the wool and stuff like that, or for basic linens that they would take to the factories. It's an interesting work. Now, why do I include this in an occult playlist? Because it's not strictly all about the occult. Well, Scottish folklore is filled with kelpies and hags and things of that nature. Those are spoken of here at some length. There are also plenty of religiously themed stories. For instance, there's this one story, this one was funny, about how there was, I guess, a lunatic in the town and came into the church, to the little schoolhouse, and basically grabbed one of the schoolboys and forced him to read like a passage from Mark over and over while marching him around the town square, threatening to hit him if he got it wrong. And I thought that was funny, and then I guess the reverend came along and finally said amen and put a stop to it, because then the passage is over. It was really funny. There are stories themed around marriage, sort of social ritual behavior, you could call it, and a lot of Christendom within it. And of course, the divergence of Christendom in the Scottish sense from mainline Christendom, which happened, a lot of cultures, if you look at Christianity, even like within a sect, like Catholicism, the way it's practiced in Mexico is not going to be the exact same way it's practiced in the Philippines, or in Nigeria, or in, Scandinavia or something. There will be differentiations on certain themes that you see, iconography, certain behaviors that would be considered loosely canonical or associated with the religion. Those are totally different because of cultural reasons. So it's an interesting collection of folklore, and I like folklore too, and it ties into the occult because, again, it sort of is a hidden knowledge. A lot of people have no real local folklore anymore. They know national level stories, like they know about the Jersey Devil, but they don't know about the local equivalent that they have in their own backwoods that someone who's 50, 60 years old might know about. The cohesion's been broken, while at the same time the internet era has really made it easier for people to take that local lore and export it. And so it competes in an almost evolutionary manner for attention, like creepypasta and stuff. Spooky stories, ghost sightings, cryptids, all of these other things. They're actually much more available, and yet locally the cohesion's almost totally gone. And that's been a facet, according to Anderson, since his era, which is, again, by the late 1800s. Now, I think he died, actually, in the 1910s, if I remember correctly. During my research. Of course, you got to establish like author's date of death sometimes for copyright purposes. It's always a good idea to cover your ass, basically. Again, link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links to my books blogs. If you're interested in folklore and not really the occult, I think you'd enjoy this as well. So highly recommended. That's about all. Peace out.